Hello and welcome to Creditable Creations. Today you will be viewing a new video in my series of Cricut 101. Today we're going to be going over Cricut's wonderful pens and markers. Cricut carries a variety of pens and markers and their arsenals of tools you can use with your Cricut. In front of me, I have fine point tip Cricut pens and fusible ink Cricut markers and Zine Art third-party brand Cricut dual tip markers. I also have a Cricut washable fabric pen and assorted Cricut gel pens. Let me go over the different types. The Cricut fabric pen slides into your Cricut and draws on a variety of materials. Its intended use is for fabric, but you can use it on other things too. What this tip does is once you draw on fabric, you can do whatever you're doing with the fabric, and then when you submerge the fabric in warm water, the ink disperses out of the fabric. I use this a lot with embroidery to get the pattern down, and then whenever I'm done with my embroidery piece, I simply duck it in a bucket of warm water for about 10 minutes and take it out, and it's just a beautiful clean piece of embroidery with no ink left on. So much better than pencil or even some of those other markers you can get, and it fits in your Cricut, which is super helpful. The third party is Zine Art Cricut dual tip markers. These are pretty cheap. They are super handy. They fit right in your Cricut very well, just as good as these do. They have two tips. They have a marker tip, which is 1 millimeter, and then a pen tip, which is 0.4 millimeters. So as you can see, this is the marker tip. It's very small. You probably can't even see that tip. And then you have the bigger tip, which is larger. The one problem with these I found is sometimes that big marker tip likes to slide back in, and sometimes I have to pull it out with a pair of tweezers. But I only had that problem with like one of these colors. The set comes with a lot of colors, as you can see, 3 rows, like 10 in each row. It came with like 5 blacks, which is super helpful because I use black a lot. Cricut gel pens. These pens are great because unlike these felt tip markers, they give you like a different consistency that looks more like handwritten. So this is a basic set. It came in 3 colors. We have tangerine, eggplant, baby blue, lemongrass, black, and true red. So the basics. I don't use these a whole lot, but they are super helpful to have. Cricut also sells them in a big case like this with like the 30 colors. Next up is our Cricut fine point set. So this is an ultimate fine point set. Basically, Cricut's ultimate pen sets come in the big boxes. The other boxes are like 15, or you can get them in like the 5-pack for sampler. This has a 0.4 millimeter. It's very small. These go right in your Cricut. In fact, let me show you. So the way we're gonna put a pen in your Cricut is you're gonna take the cap off, and if you look and see, there's gonna be that arrow right there. So if you open your Cricut cartridge, this is cartridge A. So cartridge A, explorers, errors, and makers, you're gonna put it in your A cartridge. And you're gonna push it down till you hear that click. And that arrow is gonna disappear inside that little holder piece. Then you take your clamp and tighten it, and your pen is good and sturdy to go. One thing I'd suggest before doing this is take a piece of paper and run the pen back and forth so it's primed and ready to go and you don't ruin your Cricut project. Cricut Joy, take note, you have different sets. You have different pens because they're like that tall. These will not be compatible with your machine. It's basically the same open clamp, slide in, shut clamp. I do believe you have a less variety of markers to choose from. And my last set we have up here are Cricut Infusible Ink markers. Infusible ink is really cool. If you haven't heard of infusible ink, it's also called sublimation. These basically you draw on a sheet of paper, put the paper on a t-shirt or any fabric. It has to be polyester, and it transfers what you wrote or what your Cricut draw or whatever onto your sheet of paper. This is a rather advanced Cricut craft. I will do videos on that later. Let me know if you have any specific projects you want me to do. So these are our 3 Cricut markers and our Cricut pens with our fabric pen. There's some really cool things you can do with these. I bought from my local craft store, Hobby Lobby, you can get printable vinyl. And there's also like printable sticker paper. The difference between the two, this is like vinyl. This is what you use on a water bottle, except for it's not waterproof, remember that. It's thinner, it's flexible, you're gonna use this more for the things that look better. You can even see on the little description, it's like labels, and they look so cute. This one is a printable sticker paper. Both of those can be put through the printer. Sometimes it doesn't work very well, it just bleeds and the colors fade. But you can also use your Cricut pens to draw. I've made some cute labels of drawing. This is thicker. This is gonna be used more for stickers. If you have teachers out there, I know teachers like to use this a lot. They will do random things for like cubbies and name tags. But those are super helpful. You can make custom labels super quickly. They're also helpful for Cricut print and cut. Other Cricut sets of pens, you also can get watercolor pens from your Cricut. Basically what it does is it takes the watercolor ink and disperses it on the paper, and then you take this water brush that comes with it and brush them over. Along with the release of those pens, Cricut also released Cricut watercolor cards that are already cut out and fit in your card mat, which, take note, is now also for the Joy and also for the Maker and the Explorer Air. They also have opaque pens, which if you draw on a black sheet of paper, they show up, they're like neon, it's really cool. I don't have those yet, but I'm getting those soon. I'm trying to think. They also have a calligraphy set. So the calligraphy set actually looks like calligraphy. The tip is flexible and it's like the broad tip and it comes in different lengths. There's a glitter pen set, which is really good for like gift tags or wrapping paper if you want to get that really pretty finish on there. They're always coming out with new ones. You can also on Amazon go and get adapters for this little Cricut cartridge right here. And all you have to do is put that adapter in, and you can put Sharpies in your Cricut, you can put colored pencils in your Cricut, you can put paint pens, brush tips, everything in your Cricut. Sometimes I see people use hair scrunchies or rubber bands. Those work pretty well too. I've tried that, it worked. It's not the best way to do it, but it works well. Your Cricut pens, I believe, are insured to last a certain length, but it's also like the set will probably last around 3 years, or else they dry out and they're no good anymore. I say if you use them a lot, you're fine, but if you don't use them very often, every 2 months, just take them out, scribble on a piece of paper. Take note, these are stored right side up. No, do not store your pens right side up. When I store these, they are upside down. It's so much easier, they will stay better. Another way to do that, one thing, I store them upside down because I use them a lot. But if you're not using them very often, store them on their side, because that will keep the ink from fully submerging in the tip, because you don't want that either, but also to stay balanced throughout the pen. This is going to help the longevity of your pens last longer. As you can see, you can do Cricut coloring pages, you can make adorable Cricut cards with your pens, you can draw on your vinyl, you can do so many things. I hope you learned something from this video. This was very brief and short, but Cricut pens, they're so fun, they're so helpful, and a great addition. I'd highly suggest them. I believe every Cricut comes with one black Cricut marker, but I would suggest getting more, especially like these third-party zine art. It's zine art, as you can see, it's spelled Xiniart. They're great. They came with 3 light grit mats, which have been a lifesaver because I use them so much. That's it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, like, and comment if you have any questions. Hope you learned something. Have a good day.